So, in short, ladies and gentlemen, my storage kind of ran out there, so I had to make this into two videos. In short, ladies and gentlemen, oh, now my phone is at 19%. Now I can use the flashlight. In short, ladies and gentlemen, do not be like John Smith. This is not me trying to attack any John Smith. If there's any John Smith out there, you too, don't be a John. Don't. My English. Don't be a John Smith. So that is basically today's video. Hope you liked the video. I'm not gonna make this into one video. That is, I do not have the storage for that. So, or maybe I should. I don't think I have enough storage to do that. So I'm gonna make this into two separate clips. Maybe this might be the short, and then that one becomes the. We'll see how we do it. We'll see how we do it. Like I said, one sub, few likes, few views. Couple of videos have been posted. I think less than 10 or less than 20 to be exact, because I'm not sure how many videos exactly I've posted. But yeah, I might keep pushing, because the whole point of us being Christians is to get the word out there. We're not brought here to be level 2, to be chilling, to be soft life, to be nah. That's not what we've been brought here to do. God has a purpose for our lives. The sooner you find that purpose, the better life becomes for you. You might be wondering, how do I find that purpose? That is not up for you to decide. You see, how can I put this? You see, if you wanted to know how a stove works, maybe just bought a stove. Let's say you just bought a stove, you've never used a stove in your entire life. If you wanted to know how the stove works, you would not ask the stove. You'd not be like, stove, how do I? No. Where would you go? You'd go to DeFi, to, don't know, any company that makes stoves, like Bosch. Does Bosch make stoves? I'm not sure. If it doesn't, sorry, Bosch. Wait, let me check. Pineware is one I know of. This Bosch stove. Okay, so it does make them. That is not really important. I do not know why it took so much time searching about Bosch stoves. Even the stove in and of itself, if the stove wanted to know, maybe for some reason, the stove wanted to know, what is my purpose? What was I brought here for? First things first, something we do in life sciences. We all call it biology. It's called structural suitability and adaptations. Maybe they tell you about the structure of the eye. Tell us how the sclera performs, is like how the sclera is functionally suited to perform its duties. You then say that the sclera is a tough white material because it's able to protect the things within the eye. The virtuous, is it the virtuous hue? Virtuous. I this is not today's video. I'm not teaching you life sciences. I'm not that. I So it's basically the same thing with that. First thing, you'd have to assess yourself. You'd have to assess yourselves. Okay, that does not make any sense. You'd have to assess yourself. Look at the road you took. Look at the person you are. what you're good at, what you're not good at, things you enjoy doing, things you don't enjoy doing. Because even with the stove would find that, okay, when I flick this switch, this part of me heats up. When I flick this switch, this part heats up. When I flicked all these switches, all these parts heat up. When I flick this one, maybe that part of me lights up. When I flick, that part of me heats up, and all that. And then after that, you then go to God. You're like, God, man, why? Like, why am I here? Why? Ask Him. Because He's always there. Why did you bring me to this world, you ask? What is my purpose? Because you see, even with that stove analogy, if the stove wanted to know its function, why it's been made, it would go to the manufacturer. The same as with the eye. Although the eye, we cannot go to the manufacturer, but we can see how it's being used. We can look at the eye, look at the structure of the eye, look at how it is adapted to perform its duties, and then we see like why we have the eye. What's the function of the eye? What's the purpose of the eye? So with you, it is the very same thing. Although with you, you can't just see, say, okay, I've been made for this. Now, with us, it's much more complicated than that. You have to ask God and be like, God, man, like what? Why? Like why? Why? Why me? Why here? Why this area? Why? The hard situations He puts you in, you're like, why did you have to put me into this? Why this? Why this? Ask Him. You might find that He answers you. Now, it is, not sure if you'll see the time correctly, but it is 8 p.m. Have to go back to studying. Told my classmates that I'd be back in like 7:30 to continue like the video call, but ended up being a long video. It had to be like 3 minutes. It was intended to be a YouTube short, but came out longer than expected. So this is I, the CEO of the Faith Club, and once again, stay blessed. Peace.